All right, let's dive deep into Matthew chapter 27.
Oh, heavy stuff.
It is. It
This
is.
is the crucifixion, right?
Yeah, we're walking through all the events leading up to the crucifixion of Jesus.
Okay.
We've got a clear timeline here, starting with the morning of his trial, going all the way to the burial.
Right.
I think even if you think you know the story, you'll find some details in here that'll surprise you.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, this chapter really goes deep on the whole spectrum of human emotion.
It does, yeah. The training.
Rimalbus,
Right.
injustice,
Suffering.
but also, and this is what gets me, forgiveness and sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Judas.
All right.
So he has already betrayed Jesus,
Right.
and now it's like the weight of what he did is just crashing down on him.
Oh, yeah.
He tries to give back those 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests.
Right.
I can't even imagine what must have been going through his mind, like, to face them after that.
Well, Matthew doesn't give us a ton of internal dialogue, right?
Right.
But
But you could feel it.
you can feel the desperation.
You can't.
It's there, right? He's trying to undo what he's done.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, some things you just can't undo.
No.
And the response of the chief priests?
Oh,
What is that to us? See thou to that?
it's so cold.
So cold.
It's
Oh,
just,
to dismiss it.
it's like they used him and now they're just tossing him aside.
Totally.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
And then, of course, this leads to Judas taking his own life.
Right.
Which, again, such a stark reminder of how powerful guilt and despair can be.
And it's fulfilling prophecy, too. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
Matthew points that out.
It's been random.
No, even in this act of despair, there's this sense of preordained purpose.
Yeah, and then that blood money ends up being used to buy a field,
The field of blood.
the field of blood.
What imagery, huh?
Ugh, just a constant reminder of that price of betrayal.
It sets the tone
It does.
for what's coming next.
For sure, because now we're moving from this personal act of betrayal to a scene of public injustice. Jesus is standing trial before Pilate.
It's intense.
Intense.
Jesus is accused by these chief priests, but he doesn't say a word.
He remains silent.
It's powerful, that silence, you know.
I do. It makes you wonder what's going through his mind.
Right, like Pilate, this is a seasoned Roman governor,
That's right.
He's taken aback by it, almost expecting Jesus to defend himself.
An argument, yeah.
But nothing.
Nothing.
It's like Jesus is recognizing what's the point.
Yeah.
The system has already decided.
Okay, then there's this custom of releasing a prisoner at the feast.
Right.
Enter Barabbas.
Notable prisoner.
We don't really get much about him, do we?
No, Matthew keeps him kind of mysterious,
Yeah.
almost like a symbol, you know,
Okay.
representing the choice that's being presented.
Right, freedom for this criminal.
Versus condemning an innocent man.
And then we have Pilate's wife
Yeah.
having a dream about Jesus, warning Pilate not to harm him.
It's like divine intervention almost.
It is.
Even Pilate's wife, completely outside of the Jewish system, she senses something about Jesus.
But the crowd, they're influenced by the chief priests,
Oh,
and they choose Barabbas.
it's chilling, isn't it?
It is.
How easily swayed people can be by fear and manipulation.
It makes you wonder, if we were in that crowd, would we have stood up,
Yeah,
or would we have been swept away too?
right.
And Pilate, he even says Jesus is innocent,
And then washes his hands,
literally and figuratively.
trying to absolve himself.
You can't just wash away guilt like that, though.
Nope. And the crowd, their response, his blood be on us and on our children.
Ugh, that just sends chills down my spine.
Almost like a curse.
It is.
Self-imposed curse.
And then it just gets worse.
The mocking.
The Roman soldiers put Jesus in a scarlet robe, a crown of thorns.
And hail him as king of the Jews.
It's so brutal.
They were trying to humiliate him.
Yeah, this wasn't just about death.
Yeah.
This was about stripping away his dignity, his authority.
Yeah.
And then they forced Simon of Cyrene to carry the cross,
It shows how even innocent bystanders.
to caught in the crossfire.
Exactly. Simon doesn't choose this. It's thrust upon him.
It makes you think about all the times we're forced to carry burdens that aren't ours.
To help others carry their crosses, right?
And then we get to Golgotha.
The place of the skull.
Just the name.
Yeah.
It is so stark, desolate.
Fitting.
They offer Jesus vinegar and gall, and he refuses it.
Fulfilling prophecy,
Right.
but it also shows his strength.
He's not giving in.
No, enduring this suffering on his terms.
They divide his garments.
Another prophecy fulfilled.
It's like Matthew's really driving home that this is all part of a bigger plan.
Yeah, this isn't random.
Yeah.
This suffering has a purpose.
And they put the inscription above his head. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews.
Ironic.
So ironic.
They're mocking him, but proclaiming a truth at the same time.
And the mockery just keeps
So
coming.
Arab.
Passersby, chief priests, scribes, even the thieves crucified next to him.
Relentless.
It's just relentless.
It really makes you feel for Jesus.
It does.
And it makes you sick to see the cruelty.
It shows the depths of human depravity, but also how much Jesus loved.
Right. Even facing this, he doesn't retaliate.
No.
He forgives.
It's amazing.
It is.
Okay. Are you ready to talk about Jesus' death?
And the divine signs that follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big moment.
Huge.
It's the climax of the story
full of drama.
and theological significance.
Let's do it.
Wow. So much happening in this chapter.
It's intense, and we're not even done yet.
No, we're getting to the climax.
The mocking, the suffering.
All building up to this.
Okay, so then darkness falls over the land.
Like the world itself is reacting to what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's not just a natural event.
No, this is something more, symbolizing how huge this moment is.
And then Jesus cries out, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani.
My God, why have you forsaken me?
That line always gets me.
Heartbreaking.
It's so raw, you know.
Feeling completely abandoned, even by God.
And some people struggle with that. So,
Yeah. How can the Son of God feel forsaken?
But for me, it shows how human Jesus was.
Exactly. Fully God and fully human.
Experiencing the depths of suffering, that feeling of being totally alone.
And in that moment, he connects with us, with all humanity.
He enters into our pain, our loneliness.
And by doing that, he opens the way for redemption.
For hope.
Okay, then. Jesus takes his last breath.
And everything changes.
The temple veil tears in two, top to bottom.
An earthquake.
Graves open up.
Like the world is being turned upside down.
It's a cosmic shift. Things will never be the same.
And these aren't just random events, are they?
No, they're symbolic.
So the temple veil tearing, that separated the Holy of Holies, right?
All right, where only the high priest could go.
So what does that symbolize?
The barrier between God and humanity being broken down.
So now everyone has access to God.
Through Jesus' sacrifice, yes.
This looks quick.
The old order is being shaken. The world's foundations are shifting.
The new era is beginning.
And then you have the centurion.
That Roman soldier.
The one who saw it all, he declares, truly, this was the Son of God.
Amazing. A Roman soldier saying that.
It shows how powerful Jesus' death was.
Even those who didn't follow him saw it was something huge.
It made them question everything they thought they knew.
This whole section just makes you think, doesn't it?
About what Jesus' death means for us.
Why he had to suffer like that.
What do those supernatural events really mean?
There's so much to unpack.
It's deep stuff, but that's the beauty of it.
It makes us wrestle with these mysteries.
Grapple with our faith.
Okay, we still have the burial and the aftermath to talk about.
Right, can't forget those terrified chief priests.
So scared of Jesus' prophecy that he'd rise after 3 days.
They're begging Pilate to secure the tomb.
Like, it's going to stop
Their
anything.
fear is so strong.
It's almost funny if it weren't so sad.
They can't even imagine an actual resurrection.
They have to make up a story.
The disciples are going to steal the body,
Classic.
blinded by fear and power.
Missing the point entirely.
But you know what?
Right.
They accidentally make the resurrection even more powerful. Because by taking all these precautions,
Right. Sealing the tomb, the guards.
they remove any doubt.
Oh,
If those things weren't there, people could say, oh, maybe the disciples did it.
But now the resurrection is undeniable.
Exactly. Every detail Matthew includes,
Even the stuff from Jesus' opponents.
it all points to the truth of his claims.
So Matthew 27, it's setting us up for what comes next.
The resurrection.
The foundation of the whole Christian faith.
Exactly.
Matthew's not just telling us about it, though.
No, he's showing how it was made possible.
Through all the events of this chapter,
Even in the darkest moments.
hope is never lost.
Back again for more Matthew 27.
We are, and wow, this chapter is just,
Intense.
yeah, it really is. It's like we've gone through all that betrayal, the
The
injustice.
suffering.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff. But we said there were glimmers of hope in this darkness.
We did.
So let's talk about those.
Okay, well, we talked about that Roman centurion last time.
The one who saw Jesus die.
Yeah, he sees the earthquake, the darkness, that torn temple veil, and he just says, truly, this was the Son of God.
Powerful statement from someone who wasn't even a follower.
I know, right? It's like Even those who weren't looking for the Messiah, they saw something in Jesus.
Something extraordinary.
Yeah, like it forced them to see the world differently.
What about those women who were there?
Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joses.
Mother of Zebedee's children, yeah.
They stayed faithful.
Even when the disciples ran off.
Their presence is so important.
It is.
They represent that unwavering loyalty.
They didn't leave his side.
They may not have fully understood what was happening, but they stayed.
It's like their faith was just this little flame.
Flickering in the darkness.
And that flame eventually grew into the early church.
Exactly.
And then there's Joseph of Arimathea.
Risking everything to claim Jesus' body.
To give him a proper burial.
That took guts.
It did, and compassion.
He wouldn't let fear stop him.
A single act of defiance against all that darkness.
You know, with all the loss and sorrow in this chapter...
It's good to see that hope still manages to poke through.
It does. It's a theme we see throughout the Bible.
This chapter really hits you in the gut, though.
It does, emotionally, I mean.
Yeah, it's not just some theological debate.
It's a story, a human story.
You feel anger at the injustice? Compassion for Jesus' suffering?
You can't help but feel horrified at how cruel people were.
But then there's also awe at his willingness to forgive. That unwavering love for humanity, even when facing all of that.
It makes you question yourself, doesn't it?
It does.
How would we have acted if we were there?
Would we have joined the crowd?
Demanding his death?
Or would we have been like those women?
Standing with him till the end?
Tough questions, but important ones.
Matthew 27, it's not just some old story.
No, it speaks to us today.
About our own choices, our own capacity for good and evil.
This chapter is so rich and complex.
Full of drama, theological significance, and, like you said, emotion.
It leaves you with a lot to think about.
It does.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
Even in the darkest times, hope remains.
Even when everything seems lost.
The events of Matthew 27, they may seem tragic.
But they lead to the resurrection.
The ultimate victory over death.
And that gives us hope.
Not just for the future.
But for now.
Love conquers all.
Even death can't extinguish the light of hope.
That's it right there.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
Matthew 27 challenges us to live with courage, compassion, and faith.
Knowing that even in the dark,
we are not alone.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We hope you found it insightful and something to really ponder.
Absolutely.